So it's time to move to the presentations for today. And our first speaker is from a private sector, representative, and this is Viveka Risberg, who is a program director, sustainable production and consumption at the Axfoundation. Viveka, over to you.
Thanks a lot. I'm very happy to be joining this meeting. I am from the private sector, but on the other hand, Axfoundation is a non-for-profit organization working closely with the private sector, but we also work closely with the civil society, academia, and experts. So we are trying to bridge in between the different sectors in multi-stakeholder initiatives and pilot projects to solve sustainability problems. And I will present one of the projects that I have been involved in for now 7 years. So it's been a quite long project, and it's about rice farming in Pakistan. Please change slide. So first, some facts about rice. Rice is one of the most important food commodities. 3.5 billion people consume rice on a daily basis around the world. And globally, 1.5 billion people depend on rice as their main source of employment and income, which is also including 140 million smallholder farmers and their families. And as the population grows, so does the demand for rice. And the global rice consumption is projected to grow 25% over the next 25 years. Change, please. Rice is considered a high-risk commodity. First, some facts about how it is fractioned. Europe stands for just a small fraction of the world market. And it's depending a lot on water, and it's growing in regions with water scarcity, which makes it a high-risk commodity. It's also high risk because of the social challenges. Rice smallholders earn very little, in general, $2 to $7 per day. And often the working conditions are harsh, especially for women. And you can see here in the graphs that compared to other high-risk commodities, cocoa, palm oil, coffee, and tea, rice has still a larger footprint than many of the other commodities, but still it gets quite low medial attention. Next slide, please. And in Pakistan, the agriculture is the largest sector of economy in terms of labor participation. And more than 30 million people depend on rice in Pakistan. 88% of the farmers are resource small with small holding, around 5 to 10 hectares. And even though the agriculture has a large potential and the rice production is very important to the national economy in Pakistan, it's still facing lots of challenges like lack of mechanization, quality inputs, and shortage of water. And the climate change also have large impacts on the rice cultivation, and the consequences can be heavy droughts or heavy rains. And one of the other problems in Pakistan is that the farmers have quite limited access to the market, which means that they are quite dependent on middlemen who sell to the local market. The farmers, the smallholder farmers especially, they don't have any access to the exporting market. So that has negative consequences for their income. The production chain in Pakistan looks like this. You have the input coming from middlemen that can be fertilizers and seeds, selling to the farmers. And then usually the women transplant the rice in very harsh conditions. They often have half the pay as the male workers, and these women are often seasonal workers, so they are very insecure and challenged by, they are quite vulnerable. The harvest is usually done by men. Sometimes the women can help as well, but for traditional reasons, the harvest is usually done by men. And then the rice, the paddy, is dried, also often performed by seasonal women workers. It's transported by middlemen to the local market or to the mill where the dehusking process is taking place. And eventually it's going to the local market. Now we can click, or to export, and that's where we come in. We wanted to do something about this situation. So we gathered the whole value chain from the smallholder farmers who have been organized in grower organizations, to the rice mills, the exporters in Pakistan, to the importer in Europe, and finally Axfood is a Swedish food retailer, and Unil is a Norwegian food wholesaler. And Axfoundation is sort of in between all these actors. And together we have done lots of activities to solve, to address the problems. We have, as I said, done this together, and we have been co-funded by SIDA. The implementing partner in the project has been Oxfam, and the Oxfam has also engaged a local organization in Punjab, Pakistan, to perform the training that we have, that has been a big part of the project. So 2,500 smallholders have been organized in 25 grower organizations, and 50% of them are women. We have had a large focus on women in this project. The training has been in sustainable farming in line with Sustainable Rice Platform Standard, which is a standard with lots of criteria, both for social and environmental sustainable farming methods. The project has also given the farmers access to experts and researchers, authorities and decision makers, and multi-stakeholder platforms have been formed where the farmers can meet directly with local and regional decision makers. And finally, the farmers have through the project now direct access to exporters, and the middleman is no longer there, which gives the farmers more higher income, and the productivity has increased, and so has the quality of the rice. So I just mentioned the income aspect, and also the women have been empowered. And I was there, I was privileged to go there in 2018, and I saw with my own eyes how these women were conducting trainings, and they were so happy that they finally were involved as active stakeholders in the farming and the decision processes. And you can see here some of the outcome of the project. So 10 to 20% increase in farmers' income, and the GHG emissions have been quite dramatically reduced, as have the water use and the chemical use, thanks to the project. So the next step is the project itself will end now this spring, and now we want to go from aid to trade. We have now a functional value chain where everyone has been focusing on this, and now we want this to sustain and continue our focus on the Sustainable Rice Platform Standard, and continue our support to the farmers in the sense that they really can remain SRP verified, because that will make them attractive for more buyers, so that more buyers and more retailers can source SRP certified rice. So that is our main goal. And by that, I would like to say thank you and show a short film. Thank you.
Provinsen Punjab i Pakistan är hjärtat för odling av ris av sorten basmati. Det finns mycket kraft i ett riskorn och riset gör stor skillnad för den bonde som odlar det och för hela lokalsamhället. Jordbruket i Pakistan är traditionellt oreglerat med hårda arbetsvillkor för många småskaliga risbönder och säsongsarbetare. Kvinnor har i regel lägre löner och mindre inflytande. Det här ville vi göra något åt. 2015 samlade Axfood och Axfoundation hela värdekedjan, från bönder och risexportörer i Pakistan till importören i Europa och slutligen Axfood i Sverige, för att förbättra villkoren för risodlarna. Tillsammans med biståndsorganisationen Oxfam, som drivit projektet lokalt, och med stöd av Sida har vi genom utbildande insatser arbetat för att ge dessa bönder möjlighet att förbättra sina livsvillkor, med ett speciellt fokus på kvinnor.
ऑक्सफाम और आगाही वाले 2 साल से हमें जदीद मालूमात दे रहे हैं और हमारे साथ काम कर रहे हैं, हमें सिखा रहे हैं जदीद काम करने के तरीके, फसल उगाने के, कटाई करने के तरीके और मशीनें वगैरह में सहूलतें फराहम की हैं.
Så vad har vi uppnått? Genom projektet har 2500 småskaliga risbönder organiserat sig i 25 odlarorganisationer där ledarskapet består till 50% av kvinnor. Projektet kopplar samman bönderna med myndigheter, beslutsfattare, forskare och experter. Bönderna har tränats i hållbara odlingsmetoder enligt en standard, Sustainable Rice Platform, SRP. Enligt SRP leder metoderna till mellan 20 och 50% mindre växthusgasutsläpp, 20% mindre vattenåtgång och minskad kemikalieanvändning. Den hållbara odlingen har gett många andra ringar på vattnet. Bättre riskvalitet och högre produktivitet. Bönderna har i vissa fall ökat sin skörd med 40%. Tidigare sålde bönderna sitt ris via mellanhänder. Nu säljer de direkt till risexportörerna som betalar premiumpris. Det ger mer pengar i fickan till bonden. Genom projektet har böndernas inkomster ökat med mellan 10 och 30%. Det ger effekter på hela lokalsamhället. Nästa gång du ser ett paket basmatiris på butikshyllan, tänk på bonden som har odlat det och njut av att ett gott ris har blivit ännu godare.
Wow, thanks Viveka for that beautiful presentation. The fact that you empower women and you actually have concrete ways that you are actually doing the empowerment. Just a follow-up question that we have from the chat, and I'll just add in one question. If you could just tell us more about aid to trade that you're going through in the next phase and what the role of Oxfam is in this new approach. And I'll just add a follow-up question is, what other partnerships are you seeking to enable more sustainability and inclusivity in the program?
Thank you. Well, Oxfam is for internal reasons leaving Pakistan this spring, and that is why they will not be part of the new approach. So we will basically work with commercial actors, but of course we also need someone on the ground, hands and feet on the ground, who is, trustworthy, an organization that is trustworthy, that can work directly with the farmers. So we are now looking for other organizations like Oxfam that can help us to monitor so that the SRP farming is being done accordingly. So we have not set the group yet. We are now looking for that type of organization. And when it comes to the next question, we are usually trying to work with both private sectors. So we want to spread this now to not only Axfood and Unil, but also look for other European retailers. that can, through SRP, a Sustainable Rice Platform, and this local organization that we haven't found yet, somehow monitor so that the farmers really can sustain what they have learned, that the grower organizations sustain, and that they produce the rice according to the SRP methods, so the quality is high enough to attract the Western buyers. And I can also say that I have been approached from the public sector, which is fantastic, because they now want to set criteria for when they source rice. So they are also now looking at the SRP. So if that becomes the standard and the norm, then automatically the aid is, not necessary anymore. The trade will do the work itself. The farmers will be able to sell.
Fantastic.